I hope everyone's having a great day today. My name is Stephen Wilson, and I'm a consultant here at Pait Group. Today I'm going to do a video to show you an easy way to add some visual interest to your lists and libraries. So to start with, I've got a pretty plain list here. It's just got a title and a URL. In your environment, you may have something a little more complex, but I've just chosen a list of grocery chains across the world. So the icons that we're adding to do our visual interest aren't going to have anything to do with these particular links, but you can imagine in your environment, these may be links to documents, calendars, external applications like a timekeeping application or applications where you fill out forms or HR data or whatever you may need to direct people to. And so I've chosen some icons that are particularly good for that. So what we need to do next is add a column, and I'm going to add it as a choice. And I'm going to go to the old SharePoint interface to do this. So you could click column and then click choice, and you would get this. The only reason I have a list of choices that I want to add already, so I'm just going to use the old option because it's a little easier to copy and paste some stuff in. So if I go to list settings and I create a column, I'm going to call the column icon, and I'm going to do a choice. I'm going to have a menu to choose from. And because I have a preset list, because it's a quick video, so we cheat. Here are my quick choices. Internet, idea, link, Word document, Excel document, PowerPoint, all these. So don't worry about this. We'll have all this information linked in a page on our site so that you can copy and paste all the scripting and the choices and all that stuff from the link. So you don't have to try and copy it all down now or pause the video or anything like that. So I'm going to have a drop-down menu. I am going to allow fill-in options. And I'll just make the default choice internet because it's the first one on the list. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to go back to my list. And there's my icon column. I'm going to move this over a little bit, and then I'm going to move that. So the icon will come. There we go. The icon will come first when we get all of our work done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take those words that we chose and we're going to turn them into icons. And to do that, we're going to use these. These are the App Fabric icons that Microsoft has already built into Office 365. So they use these icons for a lot of things. You may have seen them in things like the quick list web part in modern SharePoint pages, and you'll see them scattered around in various places throughout SharePoint, Teams, Planner. When Microsoft needs an icon, this is their go-to source as well. They only go outside of this list when they come up with something truly different. But they've got a lot of icons here. And you can see they've covered most of the possibilities. So they use these all over the place. So this doesn't add any overhead. There's nothing that you have to install. Everything that is needed is going to be just a little bit of text that we're going to link in the description of this video. And you just have to copy and paste pieces in. And once you kind of understand what's going on, you'll be able to customize it to do whatever you need it to do. So I've already come up with a list. So I showed you all the things I put in the choice column. So I'm going to format this column. And so I get here, This is the automatic choices that Microsoft presents to you. So you can do a couple of things with just the look and feel of the lists and the columns and all that stuff. But we're going to go into the advanced mode, and we're going to put in our own JSON format here. So JSON is not exactly a language as much as it is a format. And it's designed so that things can be encapsulated inside of JSON, and then that can be read by a computer application. It's mostly human readable, and it's got a pretty low overhead in terms of how much the computer has to do to unpack the information in JSON code. It starts off always with a schema of some kind when you're doing these column formatting or list formatting pieces in Office 365. So this is always going to be there, this schema section. The next part, though, is the custom code that I've come up with. I'm going to copy that out of my text editor, and I'm just going to paste it in here. And then I'll go through what it does. So as you can see, in reality, this is 8 lines of JSON. So it's not very much. And like I said, we'll link to this so that you can copy and paste it in yourself. And all it does, here we have the schema item that was already there. This creates an element, and so this is an HTML element. And in this case, it's a div, which is just a division. It's just a section of its own. And then the attributes, the icon name. So all it's doing is when we have a choice that we have made from the drop-down list, and so our first one is Internet. If you fill in Internet, that tells it that you want to use globe as the icon. And when we go here and we look for globe, you can see that's the name of this one right here. And then the same thing with all the rest. Idea is the light bulb. Link is the link. And in some cases, the name is the same as the icon itself. But then we have something like Word document and Word document. I could have just put Word document as the drop-down with no spaces. But Word document with a space makes more sense to people. Same thing with file library instead of document library, or just doc library, all is one word. So I've chosen things that I thought would make more sense to the person entering data. And then I've used an icon that I thought was a good indicator. So where I have Internet, globe. If I have idea, it shows the light bulb. And so when people are looking at this list, they just choose the thing that best applies to the link that they put into the list. And like I said, none of that's going to matter for grocery chains, but if it were a document on your environment or a spreadsheet, then you could choose Word document or Excel document. If it's a link outside of your environment, you could choose link. If it's just an internet link like yahoo.com or microsoft.com, then they could use the internet icon, whichever one they were comfortable with. If you wanted to change this list, like if you're looking at this and you're like, we don't use PDFs, we just don't put them in our environment, then you could put something else here. You could put, say, mail. And that's the mail icon. But if you like one of the others, you would just put in the other one. So say you like this edit mail icon. You could put here mail, and then there put edit mail. And that way, when somebody chooses mail, it uses the edit mail icon that you decided is a better one for your environment. And finally, when I created that choice column, you remember I checked the box to allow people to fill in options. So I'll show you how that works in just a minute. So I've already created this JSON. It's correct. As far as Microsoft is concerned, it's a valid file. So I get the preview and save options here. If you make a formatting mistake, you'll see these are grayed out. But all you do is fix the formatting mistake, and then you can go ahead and preview and save. Preview would work great if we had any information in there, but we don't have anything yet. So I'm just going to save it. Now I'm going to close this. And then I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to edit. And you can see here the icon. I have my list of icon names. I'm going to choose Word document, and I'm going to save it. And now our icon appears. Perfect. So that's all we really needed. If I had a better way to change this, where I go to edit, and instead of having this, if I could make it so that I could just pop open a window where it shows all of these different icons, that's what I would have done. But that would be a more complicated process. If it were done with, say, Power Apps or something like that, you could make it so that you could choose any icon. But I wanted a lightweight solution. I wanted something that was quick. So I just chose like 15 icons that I thought were probably the most likely to be used. And I create a list so that people could just choose them in a drop down here. However, if you're worried about people not having the ability to see the icons, I've got a surprise for you. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that change. And I'm going to go to Edit in Grid View. And now all these things need an icon. Click here. It brings up a drop-down. And because it's bringing up the drop-down, but it's listing the options that I chose, it's replacing them with icons. So now I do have a list to choose from. And so I can choose idea, I can choose link, or I can choose to-do item. This is a little limiting, and so after I came up with this, I realized there was a little problem with my formatting. So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to look at it. I'm going to choose to format this column. And so what I was missing here is now I don't see the connection between the word that I'm choosing and the icon. And so it was a little strange. Like if I go back to this later, I'm like, what is the name of this icon? Is it to do? I mean, I can look it up in here. There it is, to do. But I didn't really like that. I liked the connection between the icon and the actual word that people are choosing. So I added what is called a child element. I will copy that out of my notepad. And so I'm going to put a comma here because that's part of the format. Every time you start a new section, unless you're the bottom section, you need a comma. And so I put that comma in there, and then I'm going to paste in my extra pieces here. And it's not much. It's just another 14 lines, I think, something like that. And all it does is it creates another block of space, another division, and then it sets the font size to small. Here, the font size was set to extra large because I wanted the icons to be kind of big so that they fit in well next to all the other pieces. So I've set the font size to small, and these are standard font sizes in SharePoint. So it's XS, extra small, medium, large, extra large, extra large. You can also use style in here. So you, like here, I've chosen the font family of sans serif, because when I didn't choose the sans serif, it put like Times New Roman in there. So it looked kind of strange because nothing else on the page is that standard serifed font. So I chose sans serif, and now it looks like everything else. And then the text content is current field. So the current field is whatever I've chosen to go in there. And so all I'm doing is just having it, show that text. And then I've done a little bit of moving around the contents by, raising them up a little bit, moving them over a little bit. And that's what the margin is for. And I've already said what the font family is for. So you could put, for example, you could put like a font size in the style section. I can't really show you all the things that are possible with the HTML. So just sort of go along with this, and then we'll get more advanced in later videos. So with this in here, you can see it's valid JSON, or else this would be grayed out. If I hit preview, now I've got a word next to all my icons. So I'm going to save that change. I'm going to close that. And now I can see the name of all the things that I'm choosing. And so, like I said, you may want to change this list. It should be pretty easy to figure out how to do that once you've got the file in your hand and you're looking at it, and you can see like, okay, he chose internet and globe, but I don't like globe for internet. I want something else. Or I don't like light bulb for idea. Or I just don't need the data option or the libraries option. All you have to do is change the choices that are in the dropdown, or change the icon that's being presented. So you can make this anything that you want. But finally, even if you don't use one of those options, if you choose something from here, like mail, that's not in our drop-down list. But if I type mail, I go in, you can see it just uses the UI fabric icon with the name that you've chosen. So the only downside to that is it's going to show the name of the icon. And what that means is, we were playing around with this stuff the other day, and we found one that we call Cricket. It's kind of a weird icon. At first we were like, what is that thing? Like, we were just scrolling through them. It looked like a syringe or something. But we actually fill in the word cricket. And so that may not make sense to people. And there are some icons that have strange names in the UI fabric stuff. That's the downside of filling it in manually. So if it's something that you're going to be using commonly, and you want people to be able to use a more descriptive name, that's when you would put it in the format file. So here we go. And you would have a line like this section right here where it says if current field equals search, then search. You would just add another one in there that says if current field equals, sports, then use the cricket icon. And that's how you would edit this file. And that's the entire process. So you may be asking yourself, okay, we're not doing a link list. We're doing some other kind of list. This works, no matter what other information is in there. This column is completely independent of everything else. So however you want to use it is entirely up to you. But just as an example, I've got a couple of other things. And you don't need that column formatting to use this, because these icons are defined in the formatting that is in the list. However, you can use it any way that you want as a way to indicate for people, all right, Here we are. These are the icons that we're choosing. So then they know when they put it in here, when they're using something like this, it's going to be the icon that they chose. And I'll show you how to do this in another video. But I just wanted to get that quick visual interest out there, let you see it. And if you have any problems with it, let us know. If you have any other things that you would like us to explore with the JSON formatting for lists or columns, please let us know in the feedback in the video or in the links that are available in the description. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I hope this helps you out.